RPGs, role-playing games. RPGs once defined what it meant to get lost in a world. They weren't just games, they were experiences. They were full of moral dilemmas, epic battles, and choices that actually felt like they mattered. But if you look at modern RPGs, it feels like something is off, something is missing. The depth, the freedom, the sense that your actions truly change the world around you, it's fading. So what happened? Why are RPGs steadily getting worse? And why might they be on the brink of an incredible revival? Today we're going to talk about it and break it down. So let's start with the Golden Age. In the 1990s and the early 2000s, RPGs were known for being deep, immersive, and player-driven. Think about classic games like Chrono Trigger with multiple endings and time travel choices, right? Morrowind, where you had to discover the world around you and survive in it. Planescape, widely recognized as one of the greatest RPGs of all time with dialogue that rivaled literature. These games, they didn't just tell a story, they invited you to become a part of the world around you. You could create your own narrative, your own character, you lived out a journey. And that's really what made those RPGs really feel alive and like they mattered. Right? But then something changed. RPGs began to decline, and there are really several reasons why that happened. One main reason is monetization over gameplay, right? Modern RPGs are often designed around microtransactions, in-game purchases, and live services, right? Players aren't leveling up for fun. They're being nudged in a direction to spend money that is disguised as progress, okay? You have streamlined mechanics. You have complex systems from previous RPGs were simplified to appeal to a broader audience. Skills, stats, branching choices, once hallmarks of the RPG genre, have been flatlined. Look at how some of the recent open world RPGs have simplified skill trees and dialogue choices into almost meaningless selections. Right? Now it's been dumbed down to open world bloat. Okay? Big maps are not inherently good. They're also not inherently bad, but they often come with filler quest and busy work. You spend hours running fetch quest or killing generic mobs instead of making meaningful choices that actually impact the game and actually change the environment around you, right? Depth that you found in previous RPGs was sacrificed for scale, okay? Cinematics over gameplay, right? Many modern RPGs resemble basically interactive movies now. Okay, there are gorgeous cutscenes, yes. Yes, some of the cutscenes in these games, I mean, they're literally like watching a movie at this point. But the player often feels like a passenger in the game and not really a participant anymore, right? Choices feel predetermined. The agency that defined the genre is eroding, right? It's eroding. The end result of that is fans are frustrated. Longtime RPG players feel like the genre has lost its soul. New players aren't finding the same sense of wonder that once defined this classic genre. Okay? So now we've talked about what's wrong with it. Let's talk about why the genre still matters. Okay, so here's the thing. RPGs, in my mind, are far from dead. The genre still matters because player choice, story, and character growth still have universal appeal. Even in the worst modern RPG, you can still see players craving that meaningful dialogue choice, the tactical combat systems, the open world that actually had consequences to the decisions that you made, right? Character progression that feels earned instead of purchased or at worst handed to you. Okay, in other words, that hunger for a true RPG experience is still there, and really it's stronger than ever. It's just waiting for the right game to come along to satisfy those cravings, right? So, there are signs of a revival behind the scenes, right? The good news is that RPGs, they they still have all of that ingrained potential. They are still poised for a revival, and here's why, right? The indie renaissance. Small studios aren't constrained by the problems that you see in these AAA studios, right? The massive budgets, the corporate mandates, the deadlines. You don't see any of that in indie studios, right? Games like games like Pathfinder, right, show that depth storytelling and meaningful choices can thrive without the AAA budget and graphics, right? Sure, I mean, graphics are important, and yes, there is a limit to what most modern audiences will accept. But for the most part, what people want in a good RPG is they want deep storytelling. They want meaningful choices. They want things to actually matter and not to feel like they're essentially, you know, watching a movie, right? People don't play RPGs because they want to watch a movie. They play an RPG because they want the story to unfold around them and to evolve based on the choices that they make in game. Right? Look at Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 proved that there is still a huge audience for complex, tactical, choice-driven RPGs. Players are willing to wait and pay for the games that let them truly enjoy that role-playing experience. I mean, you clearly saw this in Baldur's Gate 3 with the amount of success that that game had, right? People want player-driven narratives, right? AI advancement, procedural content, modding communities, that's all giving players tools that didn't used to exist to now shape the world and stories in a meaningful way, right? Games are becoming more like sandbox storytelling platforms rather than predetermined, interactive storybooks, right? Now we have hybrid genres, right? We have RPG elements are blending with strategy, roguelike simulation mechanics, right? This adds replayability, it adds tactical depth, it adds meaningful decision making that's appealing to both casual and hardcore players. Okay? So what does the road ahead look like? What is the future of RPGs, right? What does the future look like? So, in order for RPGs to truly have their next renaissance and for the next golden age of RPGs to emerge, they're going to need to focus on freedom and player agency. They're going to need to focus on stories that have weight and choices that carry consequence. They need complex mechanics that reward experimentation rather than restrict it. They need hybrid experiences that combine RPG depth with strategy and exploration, right? RPGs are by no means dying. They're evolving, okay? The games of the future will likely combine the narrative depth of classic RPGs with modern accessibility and technology that gives gamers essentially the best of both worlds, okay? So, are RPGs getting worse? For now, yes, they are. But many modern titles, they've lost that depth, they've lost that choice, they've lost that wonder that defined the classic games in the genre. But the good news is that the potential for revival has never been higher. Okay? Indie developers, CRPG revivals, player-driven storytelling, and hybrid systems are all pointing towards a future where RPGs don't just survive, they thrive. Okay? They are never been in a better situation to where they could truly make the comeback of the century. So, if you're a fan of the immersive worlds, the tactical combat systems, meaningful choices, then now's the time to get excited, right? Because the next generation of RPGs truly has the potential to restore the magic that we've been missing for so long in what has otherwise really been a saturated, stale genre, okay? So, Yeah, that's my rant for today. Thanks for watching. If you love RPGs as much as I do, then please hit that like button, please subscribe, and put in the comments what you want me to cover. Do you want me to go more in depth on other genres of gaming? Do you want me to talk more about philosophy or history or trends? Whatever you want, just let me know in the comments below. And my question for you is, what RPG do you think deserves a modern revival? Right? So that's my rant, and I'll see you next time.
Loser, loser.